So I should kind of talk about the happenings of Rugby League. Here we go. So Sunday was the obviously the NRL Grand Final day. So just in a quick overview of what happened, the North Devils beat the Newtown Jets in a pretty decent NRL State Championship match. You know, good sort of things coming out of it. I know player from the Hunter, Cooper Jenkins, from that has gotten a professional contract. He's going to go to England to play for the Leeds Rhinos for 2 years. That's cool. It was a good match by all. It was a very entertaining way to start it off. And then in another close match in the NRLW, you had the Roosters hanging on over the Cronulla Sharks, which I've seen people talking about how the NRLW should go to 80 minutes. I think we'll give it a little bit till that happens, but yeah, I mean, I do think those two teams are the best two teams in the NRLW, and I feel like, in all honesty, we're going to see a grand final replay of that next year. Whether or not that's the same result, we'll just have to find out. And then, of course, the NRL Grand Final, the Penrith Panthers against the Melbourne Storm. Penrith have done it. They finally had more of their fans in the crowd against the opposition. They also may have, won and also become the first team since St George in the 50s and 60s to win 4 straight premierships. But, live and you learn. Was talks about controversy about whether or not this Storm try was grounded. A lot of people have been talking about it. In my opinion, it did get sent up as a no try, and they had a look at it, and the ball may have touched the ground, but in my personal opinion, I don't think there is enough clear-cut evidence to disprove the on-field decisions, so it's hard. Moving into just a general oversight in terms of refereeing, man, it's been really bad this year. Like, genuinely, I've never seen it so consistently terrible as it was this season. It's like every match had, some terrible decisions. It's just, I don't know, Graham Allen said, oh, no, they're doing the good thing, and it's just, time to get the fucking calls right. Like, genuinely, now it's this point, it's like, I don't know what some NRL rules are because it's such a grey area. Maybe if they stop changing the rules every now and then, that'd be cool, so everyone can learn them. Moving into the discussion of the upcoming Pacific Championships, basically some squads have started to come out. For example, New Zealand announced their lineup yesterday. Couple of Knights boys in there, Leo Thompson getting back in there, and Phoenix Crossland set to make his debut for the Kiwis. He was born in New Zealand, moved over to Australia when he was a kid, and now he's representing his birth nation. One thing I did know is that Michael Maguire, who was at the time the coach of the Kiwis, did ask Phoenix Crossland to play in the 2023 Pacific Championships, but eventually what would happen is Phoenix Crossland did his knee, so he wasn't able to play, but now he's doing it, and I'm really happy for him. In all honesty, with the amount of injuries that the New Zealand men's team have suffered, I actually reckon he'll probably start. So, and I mean, I think he's a pretty decent utility. Like, I don't know if he's probably the best in the comp. I think it's a bit audacious to say that, but he's a very solid player, and I think he's going to go really well. You also got, for the women's Kiwi Ferns, you've got Shanice Parker, and you've got Abigail Roach, which technically she's still a Knights player, even though she is leaving the club. Then you also had Tonga fielding a really strong team in their first participation in the Pacific Championship. Tyson Frizzell didn't get in there, unfortunately. Samoa have got a pretty decent team as well, as they're going to do their 2-test tour of England, which should be nice to see. Wondering, at this point, we don't know what the England team is. Should be pretty tasty, to say the least. And then we go into, obviously, the first country that released their lineups was Australia. And I have to vent for a little bit, so please bear with me. Obviously, the big talking point throughout this whole Australian squad selection was the fact of Kalen Ponga. Ponga was quite heavily linked into being the player that was going to be selected at fullback, but then Kalen Ponga released the news that he was planning to pull himself out of eligibility because he wanted to focus on recuperation and be ready for pre-season with the Knights. And boy, some old heads did not like that. And it's even current coach Mal Meninga said that he should face punishment, basically he should not be allowed to represent the Kangaroos because damn, a player who's been pretty unlucky suffering injuries really shouldn't be allowed to recuperate. Like, in genuine seriousness, I think the argument about the NRL players' like schedule being ridiculous is like completely justified, because now they're going to be playing until like the beginning to middle of November. Then they're going to have like maybe a couple of weeks off, and then they've got to start preseason for next year. And then you got like some teams are going to go over to Vegas early and stuff. It's just in the trials and all that. I just think it's just ridiculous. And then with the amount of pressure coming in, basically the ARL giving Ponga a so why the fuck are you not playing for us? Basically says, you know what, I'm going to actually make myself available. I'm back in for selection. And then Mal Meninga, for some fucking reason, decided to not select him. I don't get it. What is the point of all of that? It's like, why make such a big brouhaha about him pulling himself out of eligibility to then not select him once he puts himself back in there? They've now gone with Dylan Edwards, which I think is a pretty fair call as fullback. And he's pretty much said it's like, it's kind of based off Origin form, and this recent mishap wasn't the reason that he wasn't selected. Origin form I can kind of understand, like, somewhat, but then it's like, you do realise this happened back in July, right? Things happen in about 3 months, so yeah, I don't know, but it's a bit interesting, isn't it? Bradman Best is in there though, so he actually has the possibility of becoming the 21st Knights player to represent the Kangaroos, which would be really cool to see. Last time a Knights player got selected for the Kangaroos, Dane Gagai in 2017. That long ago. Then you've also got the Gillaroos, and you've got the usual suspects. I know for the Knights, you've got like Tamika Upton and Yasmin Clydesdale. Yeah, pretty justified on that as well. But I just think it's like the whole fiasco is just a bit silly. But I am excited for it anyways. Should be an interesting time. Now, obviously, we are now at the end of the NRL season, but we still have the Pacific Championship. So basically, it's now kind of just me talking about what's the plan for the channel. Well, easy, football. But yeah, I wanted to actually be active this off season, because I wasn't active during the actual season anyways, but you just gotta make content and stuff around that. Just make some like Rugby League type things, even like video essays with like actual like narration. That'd be pretty cool, I think, to do. Basically all in the lead up to the start of next year. Now, this is not me making a ploy saying it's like 2025 is going to be my year, but watch this. No. I hate when people say that, but you know what I mean. It's like I actually want to be proactive with that. Like 2025 will be a new year. Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff. We're going to do a lot of stuff surrounding Pacific Championships. It should be fun. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and let's get into the off season.